Well guys, the trash ump is back and it's rideable again. Finally. And yes, I did say trash ump because this is a sad video. A sad story of a Triumph that broke and was completely disabled. And it cost me a whopping $1,800 just to get it rideable again, all because of a little piece of broken plastic and also the bent shift lever. That was actually the cheap part. But the story begins when I'm having a lot of fun off-road on this bike, probably going a little too fast, getting a little too confident, and I go over this hill, hit a washout, and I try to ride it out, but it's just not happening, especially with these tires. I think I even tried to hit the brakes, but if I would have been going slower and been more careful, I probably wouldn't have got into this situation. But I pretty much bailed because you don't want to try to save a bike that you know is going down with your knee. The 400-pound bike is always going to win over your poor little knee that will probably need surgery if you mess it up. So I kind of just bailed, didn't even get hurt crashing, but it went down into this wash and it was kind of off camber. So the top of it was like facing down and I had a really hard time picking it back up because it was real loose in that section. I was a bit upset, but I really didn't do all that much damage, or at least it didn't seem like I did until I got it back up. I turned the key on, make sure the kill switch is set to run, and nothing happens. It won't even crank, it won't start, nothing. But the instrument cluster does turn on, but it just, nothing happens. And I tried a bunch of different things. And also the shift lever was clocked all the way pointing down, which is a bit concerning to me. However, that was not as big of a deal. And I was actually out in the middle of nowhere. There was not a lot of people around and nightfall was coming. And fortunately, these two super nice guys in a truck just stopped by and we tried to bump start it and stuff, but with a modern bike like this, that definitely, wasn't gonna help. So I decided just to leave the bike and the guys in the truck gave me a ride all the way back, about 40 miles to where I need it to go. But it kind of worked out because they were heading that way anyways. And they had some really nice dogs. And they were just trying to pay it forward because some guy out in the same area helped them get their truck unstuck one time. So it kind of helps to, help other people out when they're in need. And I was very thankful for them to give me that ride. However, I did have cell phone service, so I could have called someone, but I would have been out there for a while. But I carry all of the survival gear I need to for a cold night in the woods if I had to. But unfortunately, I didn't have the right vehicle of where they brought me, so I had to drive a long ways, about 2 hours to get a different vehicle and then drive all the way back with the bike carrier. And by the time I got this thing loaded up, the sun was actually rising and I was very tired. I actually called in sick the next day for work because I just wanted to get it back home because this bike was pretty new and I was kind of sad. I kind of just messed it up. So the next couple days I did some investigating and I figured out what happened and why it wouldn't start. During the crash in that washout, the instrument cluster got pushed in and you can see all the scuffs and scratches. However, the instrument cluster was somehow not damaged. Maybe they just made this super well, but it actually pushed against this little plastic ring and this just clips on there. And I noticed this was like halfway off and I took it off and there's another plastic ring under there and a little piece of it was broken off and I don't think I have that piece still, but I do have a little picture I can show you. And on the inside of that broken piece, you can see a piece of copper winding that was molded into the plastic that had broken off. And that little broken piece of plastic is why this thing would not start. But I did figure out how to bring up the trouble codes just with the instrument cluster. And I'll make another video on that. But the code it was giving me was for the immobilizer system, which made a lot of sense. Here are all the old parts I got back from the dealer, and I'll explain why I had to bring it to the dealer in just a moment. But this is the ignition, and the key goes in here, but it's not just a normal key. It's like a lot of late model cars where the key has a little digital transponder key chip, and then all those little copper windings pick up the code. It's a little antenna, and then they send it on this line and it goes to an immobilizer module. And I assume that there's another harness that this connects into. This is a white and a black wire, and there's a white and a black wire on here. They probably correspond together. But the immobilizer module reads the code, and if it's the right code, it'll tell the ECU, let's pretend this Red Bull is the engine control module. It'll be like, okay, engine control module, you have my permission to work. And without the correct code, or no code at all, the engine control module will not allow the engine to run. It won't give it spark, it won't allow the starter to start, and fuel injection and stuff like that. So it's your basic kind of 2000s anti-theft system, which is nice to prevent people from stealing it. But if something breaks, then you're not gonna be able to start your bike, which kind of sucks if you're out in the middle of nowhere. So when I take it to the dealer, I have the parts guy try to find just this part, because check it out. Just the antenna for the key pickup is replaceable by itself. Oh, and you can see where that broken piece of plastic was. And that is what disabled the bike completely. Just that little piece right there. And I asked the dealer how much this would be, and they're like, oh, you have to buy the entire ignition system and the keys and everything that the key goes to, like the gas cap and the rear seat latch and the immobilizer module. You can't just buy this part. This should be a $50 part at the most. Like, this is a pretty simple part. It's just a little piece of plastic with a wire and a copper winding. But they're like, nope, you have to buy this whole thing. And guess how much that is? Let's take a look here. I'm not gonna share the dealer I took it to, at least for right now, but just for the ignition, the keys, the immobilizer module, gas cap, it's $473.97. And then on top of that, the labor was $825 for just to get it started again. Cost me $1,298.97. And the crazy thing is I could not do this myself, because you have to have their special programming software. And I actually called an independent mechanic that works on Triumph, and they're like, yep, only the dealer has access to that software, which, I mean, kind of makes sense, so people can't steal your bike and get it running. But this is insane. Shame on you, Triumph. This should be a $50 part that I can replace. I shouldn't have to pay $1,200 just to get my bike running again. It's only a $5,000 bike. And being able to replace just this part is not gonna make it easier to steal, because all this does is pick up the code from the key and send it to the immobilizer. It doesn't allow you to start a bike where you don't have the key or the code for it. And yes, someone did say that I could buy one of these, like for some random vehicle, and maybe splice the wires in and somehow get the key around it. And yeah, that might work. It might be kind of finicky. Maybe it works sometimes, maybe not. But I didn't want to go that route because this bike is so new. So I actually just went through insurance, and they just paid for everything. And fortunately, my insurance rates haven't gone up yet. It's been over 6 months. But hopefully, since I've been with them for so long and not have any accidents that were my fault, hopefully they'll give me some grace. But anyways, on to the shift lever. And this thing was pointing straight down. And if you look at the shift lever, it's very exposed and sticking out quite a bit. And you're definitely gonna bend or break something when you lay the bike down on that side. But it basically twisted the shift shaft. Check the splines out, how twisted they are. And fortunately, it didn't do any other damage to the transmission. It shifts just fine. I'm guessing they designed this to be the weakest point, which would make the most sense. But this shift shaft was only 25 bucks, and that's completely reasonable. That's not bad. And it's actually not that hard to replace yourself. You just have to take the side cover off and probably replace the seal. It's not a bad idea. And then the gasket around the side cover. I have the repair instructions, and it looks pretty easy to do. But with the labor and the parts, the shift shaft and a new shift lever and seal and gasket with some oil was $444.10. Pretty crazy. Obviously, I could have done that myself a lot cheaper, but at the time I was pretty busy and I just didn't want to mess with it. I had a lot of stuff going on and I just went through insurance and it worked out. And hopefully they tightened everything correctly, did it properly. I really don't like other people working on my vehicles, especially motorcycles, but it's really sad that I could just not fix this myself. It's something so simple. And that should be such a cheap part. I mean, $50 at most. That should be like maybe $30, $35. That would be reasonable. And it just pops on and off. There's a zip tie. You might have to drill these bolts out because there's special bits that break off to make it really hard for people to take your ignition out. But that's really not that bad. It's super disappointing and sad. So either A, the dealership was lying, or the person didn't know how to look up this part individually. Unfortunately, there's not a good parts warehouse ordering system online like there is for Yamaha. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about a Triumph and you like to work on your own motorcycles. You'll probably have to go to the dealer. Or B, because this motorcycle is so new, it just came out in 2024 and they were like redesigned everything, like the ECU and stuff. Maybe Triumph hasn't came out with this part individually yet, but maybe they will in the future. I hope they do, or maybe there's an aftermarket. You can buy this because that is just insane. It should not cost $1,200 for this little piece of plastic and a copper winding with a wire. It's a $5,000 bike. It just blows my mind. I don't know what to do. I probably wouldn't have bought a Triumph if I knew this was gonna happen. Or C, Triumph just doesn't care. They're like, you gotta buy everything together and they won't care in the future. But that's why I'm making this video, to just kind of let everybody know things you can run into if you buy a Triumph. But that being said, I do like this bike, like how it rides and everything. It's very smooth. It's got plenty of power, good gas mileage. It's a fun bike to ride. Not as like good off-road. I think some better tires would help with that. And I'm gonna be doing a lot of mods to it. So the first thing I'm gonna be doing is adding the crash bars and engine protection. And the crazy thing is I actually had these when I crashed the Triumph, and that might have actually saved it from breaking that little ring. I don't know for sure, but I was planning on doing a video, so I was kind of just holding off on installing them because it takes a while to make those type of videos. But I'm gonna do that before I do much more off-road on this bike. And then another mod is I actually have a metal headlight guard. This one is just plastic, but the metal one is gonna look a lot cooler and probably help protect things a little bit better. And then I have a metal shield that goes out in front of the instrument cluster. Looks kind of cool. It's not like a super big windscreen or anything, but it's just black and it covers this part. And then I need some new handlebars. I definitely bent these a little bit on that crash. And these handguards are really kind of silly. I think this one was like wrapped around during that. So I'm gonna be installing some 1 1/8 Pro Taper bars on here with an adapter. And I'm gonna be putting the Highway Dirt Bikes handguards with the fold out mirrors so I can get rid of these big goofy mirrors and just have ones that fold out. I think it'll look a lot cooler and it's gonna really protect everything a lot better if I do lay it over again. I'm gonna get a metal skid plate for it. The factory one is just plastic. I think a metal one would be much, much better. And then I'm gonna get some flush mount turn signals that basically are just plug and play. A little pricey, but I think it'll be worth it. The exhaust, I'm just gonna keep stock. I think it sounds great without being overly obnoxious. And I also have a cool pack that you can stick on the back, and it just attaches to these little straps that are barely noticeable. Works super well, just takes up the passenger seat. And then I might do a redesign on the logo to say Trash Umph, maybe put like a trash bin underneath all that. I think that'll look pretty cool. I don't know if Triumph will like that, but I'm not very happy with them, so I don't care. And I was thinking about if this happened again ever, I was gonna do like a standalone ECU, like a micro squirt where you can just hook up your entire engine management system and you have full control over it. So I don't have to ever take it to the dealer, besides just going there to get parts. But that kind of got shut down because it has a drive-by-wire throttle, and that's not really gonna work too well. Not gonna be very easy to work that in. But what I might do is you can actually buy a little copper pickup coil for keys. It's kind of universal, and I might just splice it into that connector and make the wire long enough so if that ever happens again, I can just change that connector to the other one and just throw it around the key, and hopefully I'll be able to get it started out in the middle of nowhere. I'm hoping with all the protection it won't happen again. Maybe this was just like a weird thing. I did get really down into that washout really good. Maybe it won't happen to anybody else. Maybe I'm just the only one. But anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments below. And no, I'm not getting rid of it. I'm gonna keep it. Also, the TW needs a lot of work. It needs a new battery. I think I have a parasitic draw with those off-road lights, which I actually want to put on here as well. But I think I'm going to install a relay and then get a new battery. That battery is super old. It lasted a long time, but I think it would have kept going if I didn't have that parasitic draw. But I'll make a video on that. And also it needs new steering bearings, and one of the fork seals is blown. I'm gonna overhaul the whole front suspension with new springs and some drop-in cartridge emulators. I think that'll be a really cool video, and it's gonna make the suspension on the TW really nice compared to what it was originally. Hopefully I can get around to that before too long. Time just flies by, it's crazy. But I'm also gonna be making videos on all the mods I do on the trash ump here. But anyways, guys, I hope you found this video useful, especially if you're thinking about buying a Triumph. All this new technology is really great, but it also has its drawbacks. There's something about the TW, it's just super easy to work on it. There's no computers or anything. It's a lot less likely to leave you stranded, but it's not as powerful. You know, it's a trade-off. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace out. Oh, and also, if you're still here, I actually broke my back last November. I have a whole bunch of vertebrae fused. I could have been paralyzed, but I fortunately wasn't. And I'll be kind of sharing a little bit more about that. I can't share everything about it for reasons, but I'll have a video on that and kind of what happened to me as well. But I got some titanium rods on my back and I'm actually feeling great. But anyways, guys, thanks. Bye.